Hi there, I'm Peggy Farah. I'm a psychotherapist in the Seattle area and the founder of Deeper Cravings. And I want to talk to you today about an experience that is so common in relationships. I see it all the time in my practice, both working with couples and when I'm working with individuals and we're just talking about their relationships. And I experience it all the time in my personal life too. And it's that common feeling of resentment that we have. So resentment comes up when we are in an interaction with somebody and something about the dynamic feels unfair. In some way, it feels like the other person is cheating us or isn't accounting for our needs. And what can happen is that feeling can fester within us and we move into a place of really a victim stance, of feeling like, when are they going to figure out that I'm always the one doing the dishes, or I'm always the one making the coffee, or I'm always the one planning our date night, etc. There's so many examples of it. And what happens is it just perpetuates. Every time that they don't, in our mind, look out for our needs or things feel imbalanced, that feeling just grows. It just continues to fester and grow. What I have come to learn about resentment and what I find so helpful in my personal life when I start to notice that experience is I've come to learn that 100% of the time, there is always something that I need to be taking responsibility for. And that doesn't feel good. It feels better to be in the place of blame and just say, we're doing everything right and they're treating us unfairly. But in fact, 100% of the time when we feel resentment, it is usually pointing to a boundary we didn't set, a need we didn't express, a limit we didn't convey somehow in our relationship. So for example, if we have the resentment that our partner is never the one who plans dates and we're always the one who does, then somewhere along the line we have not communicated that clearly enough or appropriately enough with our partner. And if we have communicated it, we have not enforced the boundary or we've allowed it to perpetuate. We're the ones who just keep setting up the date. We're not holding that firm boundary. So when we can begin to recognize, oh, wait a minute, I have a part to play in this, we move out of the victim stance and into a more empowered stance, which is always going to be better off in terms of you feeling more powerful in your life and in terms of acting with agency. So what I want to propose to you is when you think about an ongoing resentment you have, that essentially there are 3 paths you can take. One is you can keep the dynamic. It's an option. It's not a good option. I don't recommend it, but certainly you can just keep that dynamic going. A lot of people do. Sometimes these resentments can live on for years, where you just say, I don't want to confront it. I don't want to do anything different. And so we just stay stuck in that really uncomfortable negative dynamic in our relationship. But if you want to do something a little bit more healthy, then I recommend one of these 2 other paths. One is take action, set your boundary, state your need, and find a way to communicate it early on. As soon as you notice the resentment, say, oh, this feels unfair to me. Okay, I need to say to my partner, honey, I would like you to plan the next date. Or I'm noticing that I'm initiating most of the dates. I would like us to alternate. Maybe we could get on a schedule. And if you find that it's not happening, you go back to them and you say, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago where I was hoping we could alternate and I want us to revisit that. Okay, so that's a very empowered stance because you're only in control of your own actions. It's all you can control. You can wish that he would see it differently. You would wish that he would anticipate your needs, but the wishing can't get you anywhere. Whereas you do have control over your actions. You can take action. Okay, the third path that you can take, which is an option, and it is also a very healthy option, is if you're not willing to confront it, if you're not willing to set your boundary or express your need for whatever reason, maybe you just don't feel it's worth it, or maybe you don't have the nerve, or maybe you don't want to for whatever reason, then you do have the option of shifting out of the resentment through acceptance, through giving up the resistance, through really moving into a place that's also empowered by saying, I choose not to change this situation. I choose to be in a situation where I plan all of the dates in our relationship, or I make all the coffee, or I do all the dishes, and I'm making that choice. And so when we move into that empowered state, we can relax into it. Maybe we find balance somewhere else. Maybe we say, okay, in my relationship, I'm just going to be the one to plan all the dates, but he is going to balance it out in some other way. And we make peace with that internally. Okay, so those are some thoughts for you to consider the resentments in your life, and I wish you so much joy and peace and health. come visit me on deepercravings.com.